Starting at number 30, as always, we got the White Sox. Hey, not really much to talk about the White Sox, to be completely honest with you, but we got a couple of things in the rumor mill. Bob Nightingale reporting that Skip Shoemaker has been a name floating around as the next possible manager. You got Grifol there. I would imagine the White Sox, who knows what's going to happen with this team. I would imagine at this point, Luis Robert, Garrett Crochet, I'll be honest with you, about a month ago, I'm thinking there's no way they trade Garrett Crochet. That's a guy that you can build around. But honestly, the more that his name keeps getting pumped into the stratosphere when it comes to the rumors possibly being moved, it's not very often you see a guy who's having a breakout year like he is, who has more than 3 years of control until free agency. It's not very often you see a guy get moved like that. But at this point, with how bad the White Sox have been this year, that could be definitely something you see. Luis Robert, people always want to talk about the injuries with him, but I've been saying for a bit now, the upside of Luis Robert outweighs the injury risk, in my opinion, because it's just not often you come around a player like that. You got to think as an organization, right? You got to think, when you see a talented player like that and they got like the injury bug going on, you got to think, you know what? Hey, we could get this guy right. Let's get our training staff's hands on this guy. Maybe we can get him better prepared for the games, keep him healthy. Because when you have a guy like that healthy, what he can do for your team is just off the charts. And of course, you're going to have the people out there, oh no, he's always injured. Well, he's always been injured with the White Sox. Maybe a team possibly feels like they could do something about that. We'll see. But I do expect their names to keep staying hot. The White Sox could look very different next year. It's going to be very interesting. Moving on, number 29, we got the Angels. Not really a whole lot to talk about. The Angels, they met up with their old friend Shohei Ohtani this past week. Ohtani greeted them with like a 800-foot home run or whatever the heck it was. The big story out of Angel Land, Mike Trout has not even began running yet. Still no timetable on Mike Trout. At this point, really, at this point, if you're Mike Trout and the Angels, do you even come back and play this year? Really? What's even the point? The Angels, a lot of people were thinking coming into the year, maybe this guy could be trade bait. Maybe this is a guy that, who knows, maybe the Phillies or their team could go after him. But what's even the point? I'd say keep him out as long as you need. Don't rush him back. Let's see if you can get him back for next year. I would even think about, possibly trading him in the offseason. I don't know. That's just me. What can you do? But it's still not great news hearing that Trout, there's still no timetable on the return there. It's just an unfortunate situation all the way around. I hope that guy gets back soon. Number 28, we got the Colorado Rockies. Kyle Freeland making his return today. He was on the IL, out since April. Looked really good. 6 shutout innings. German Marquez, remember that name? He's going to be back soon. He has had another rehab start this past weekend after getting Tommy John. He should be back very soon. Other than that, not really a whole lot going on with the Rockies. I'm just waiting for the draft. I'm just very excited to see what the Rockies actually do. Could they go for one of these big college hitters? Maybe, if you got someone like Charlie Condon or Jack Caglione or Travis Bazzana in that spot, maybe Chase Burns, who knows, maybe someone like Hagen Smith. Very curious to see what the Rockies do with that pick. I will be doing another mock draft this coming week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure the notifications are turned on. Number 27, we got the Marlins. Really the big story with the Marlins for this past week, Jesus Luzardo going to the IL. Literally just did a trade video the other day saying, hey, San Diego Padres, that could be a great fit for Jesus Luzardo. But now he's dealing with a bit of a back issue. I think they're calling it a stress reaction in the back, if I read that correctly. Timetable 4 to 6 weeks. Listen, I still think he could get moved. I know, he's on the IL, never great when you got to deal with the back, but it's not the arm. That's what I think could end up being the difference maker with him he's still getting traded, right? Because if it was an arm thing, yeah, he's probably not going anywhere. But it's a back, right? And I think there's still a chance he could get moved. So the what he can bring you to your rotation, what he did last year, man, he could absolutely upgrade your rotation. Even if he ends up needing to miss a little bit of time, if you trade for him, get him, hey, mid-August, third week of August, even if it takes that long, it might not even take that long for him to come back. He could still help out your team, pitch a, few starts down the stretch, get 4 starts in September, and then ends up pitching for you in the playoffs. I still think that's worth it. I do think his value will go down a little bit because of the injury. At the end of the day, though, Luzardo, this guy's good when he is healthy. So moving on, number 26, we got the Oakland A's. They made a trade. J.D. Davis going to the Yankees. That was out of nowhere. What the heck happened there? But they acquired Jordan Groshans. This guy's been on the move a couple of times. He went to the Marlins, then he went to the Yankees, and now he's going to the Oakland A's. He was the number 46 prospect for the Blue Jays back in 2021, or number 46 overall while with the Blue Jays. And he has just completely fallen off a cliff since then. I mean, this guy put up really good numbers in 2021 in the minor leagues, and since then, just not really all that much. Maybe the Oakland A's can get something out of him. We'll see. Number 25, we got the Rays. They ran into Paul Skeens. That train keeps on moving, but Savali and the bullpen did just as good today, picking up the win. Overall, winning 2 out of 3 against Minnesota and Pittsburgh. 4 back in the wild card. Their offense is heating up. 5th in offense over the last 7. Josh Lowe is hot. 375 average with an 833 slugging, 3 home runs over the last 7 games. Could the Rays maybe start getting into this thing? We'll see. The offense is clicking. How about a team that is not clicking? What the heck happened to the Toronto Blue Jays? Listen, you all know where I see you in the chat. Grant, Blue Jays should be 25. Yeah, I'm gonna make that switch. I'm gonna make the switch. I don't know why I even have these two. Let's make that switch. Hold on a second, everyone. We're doing the audible. Let's go Rays at 24 because they had the better week. Here we go. There we go. That looks a little better. Yeah, Blue Jays. What is happening with this team? They're gonna be sellers, everyone. Listen, coming into the year, where are they? There we go, Blue Jays. Okay, so you all remember what I was saying coming into the year. There was fatigue with this team. They didn't really do all that much in the offseason. Sure, yeah, Justin Turner, my ginger brother, and coming to Toronto, going to be bringing a little something for that lineup. He brought in IKF, but you didn't really do all that much this past offseason, really. You could argue you actually got worse because, you lost Max Chapman. Sure, you brought in Yariel Rodriguez, but at the end of the day, he was a wild card, right? You weren't really sure what he was going to give you, especially in year 1. Yeah, there's upside there with him, but the Blue Jays didn't really get better. And, you're just going to see regression when this is a team a couple of years ago, man, they had all the momentum. They were making all these moves in the offseason. People were thinking, all right, hey, this is a World Series team right here. And then they're just falling flat on their faces in the playoffs. And, what do you expect? You all can go back to my preseason power rankings, the very first one that we did. I believe I did it the morning of opening day. I said, listen, I'm not sure what to think of this Blue Jays team. There is fatigue with this team. There are players I saw having some regression this year. Kevin Gausman was having the shoulder issues in spring training. That was a bad sign to me, and look what's happened with him this year. I did not feel great about the Blue Jays, but I still saw the talent this team had. So I still thought, okay, this is a team that could still, maybe finish a little above 500, but I wasn't thinking they were going to be a playoff team this year. And here they are. They're falling apart right before our eyes. They lost 6 straight games. They just got swept by my Red Sox this past week. The offense is 20th overall in Major League Baseball. They're 19th in starting pitching. that was the one thing about the Blue Jays last year. They had this great starting pitching that could carry them through the season, but the offense was up and down last year. And this year, they got a lot of guys that just aren't really producing for you. Vlad, he's definitely picking it up, but Bo Bichette, look at the bad year he's having. George Springer, just once again, not really living up to the contract. Hey, give it up for a guy like Spencer Horwitz. This guy's come up and he's done quite a bit since his call up here, but it's not a complete team, right? The bullpen had their issues a little while ago, I don't know, man. And then you get the news today with Aurelvis Martinez getting suspended for 80 games. You feel good. You get this guy called up. Okay, maybe he can bring some juice to this lineup. And now he's gone for 80 games. He literally played one game, and then he got suspended. I guess he said something. He was taking a fertility drug to help him and his wife try and have a baby, but I thought that was always the other way around. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Either way, it's like, come on. He said, I guess he also said he asked the doctor if it was okay to take, and he said that he got bad information, basically. And I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know what to say. The Blue Jays, they just look terrible right now. I don't know. But again, and I'm not trying to say I told you so, but I kind of saw this coming into the year. We got a couple of super chats. Let me finish off this tier, and I will get to those super chats shortly. Number 23, we got the Giants. Listen, hear me out. I do see Maury's life with the super chat. $1.99. Maury's life. You have not been the happiest fella this year, and I am sorry. Another bad week, losing 2 out of 3 to the Cubs, swept by the Cardinals. But here's the thing. I actually feel a bit more optimistic about the Giants. I'm just saying. I think this Giants team could still have a run in them. I know that might seem ridiculous, but they rank 13th in offense on the year. They're 14th in starting pitching. They're going to be getting some guys, healthy soon. They're going to be getting some guys back. I think you could still see the Giants go on a big run at some point. Like maybe they rattle off like 7 or 8 straight wins and get right back into this thing. I think this Giants team is capable of that. There's just a lot of talent on this team, and I think it's safe to say they have more talent on this team than the Blue Jays do. That's just my opinion. And you got Jorge Soler starting to heat up as well, slugging .667 with 2 home runs over his last 7 games. But, they're not looking great right now. When we're taking a look at the standings, let me actually go take a look-see. Where are the Giants here? They're 3 back, right? They're 3-7 in the last 10. They've lost 5 straight, but this is a team that can get right back into it. I think there's just a lot of talent here. Let me actually go. Let me look at the IL for the Giants real quick. It's full of names. Let's see. We got offensively. You got Lamont Wade Jr., right? You already lost Jung-Hoo Lee, right? Mike Yastrzemski has the strained oblique. On the pitching side of things, right? Blake Snell, he's had the groin issue. Keaton Winn just going on the IL. I believe he just pitched in that historical game against the Cardinals this past week, so he's on the IL now. Robbie Ray, he'll be back eventually. Kyle Harrison with the sprained ankle. Alex Cobb had the hip surgery in the offseason. They're going to get healthy at some point. I do think this Giants team, I wouldn't count this team out just yet. You got Elliot Ramos as well, having just a monster year. He's been fantastic. I mentioned him in my video earlier tonight. I still think there's life left in this Giants team, but we will see. At number 22, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like I said, the Paul Skeens show lately. Another great start for him today against Tampa Bay. 7 innings, 8 Ks, 1 earned. You've had, Jarrett Jones. He's been pitching great. They've been getting great pitching. I still think they just need a bat in this lineup. In the video that I posted yesterday, I mentioned Luis Robert. And I'm going to say, I said the Luis Robert idea like 10 days ago, right? 2 weeks ago, I said. I see some other YouTubers out there. They're saying, oh, hey, Luis Robert to the Pittsburgh Pirates would be a good idea. I'm saying, I said it first. I'm claiming credit for that one. I hope it happens. Anyway, but they need a bat, I think. Someone like that. Someone that can just take pressure off all of these guys in the lineup. That is a guy I think is just perfect for that team. Not just the player, but the contract too. They don't like to spend all that much money over there in Pittsburgh, but he's not really all that expensive. I think you can make a case for Luis Robert to go to Pittsburgh. I think that would be great. If not him, maybe a guy like Taylor Ward, something like that. Someone that can just give them a boost. Someone that can just bring a bat there. I think that's what they need. But again, 12th in starting pitching, 27th in offense. So they need to get that addressed. But overall, up and down week for the Pirates, losing 2 out of 3 to the Rays, winning 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Number 21, we got the Chicago Cubs. This Cubs team is weird. They're annoying. I'm not sure what to think of this Cubs team. I was really liking them in the beginning of the year. And, not a bad week overall. They just lost tonight against the Mets, so I guess I can take that back just a little bit. But they did win 2 out of 3 against the Giants, and then they lost 2 out of 3 against the Mets. This offense needs a boost, right? I mentioned in the video yesterday, Alex Bregman, I think, could be a nice piece. Unless they can figure something out with Christopher Morel, maybe you could add a catcher there to give you a bit of a boost. Either way, I think they need a bat there. They are getting some good pitching lately. Jameson Taillon, Justin Steele, Kyle Hendricks, they're hot right now, pitching great. Ian Happ, Michael Busch, they're looking pretty good. As for the pitching, Imanaga got absolutely wrecked the other day. So let's just forget about that one. I think that's a blip on the radar, but they just need guys to step up a little bit more with the bats. So let's get to the chat here really quick. Let me point out those super chats here. What do we got? I just want to make sure I don't miss any super chats. Okay, here we go. So we got a $10 from Ethan Sacco. $10. Did you see Jim Bowden's must-trade article? Fetty to the Cardinals wouldn't surprise me at all. The Cardinals do love their aging middle rotation pitchers. It would still be a good move, though. Yeah, no, Fetty I think is a bit of a wild card in this market. I feel like he's like the Jack Flaherty last year when he got traded to the Orioles, right? Everyone was like, oh, Jack Flaherty, this could be a decent piece to add to the rotation. I think Fetty is kind of that guy this year. But yeah, I think for the Cardinals, I could see the Cardinals maybe doing a couple of different things, maybe trying to do something with the offense, maybe adding a little bit more depth in the rotation and, counting on these guys they already have to provide them, try and get them to that playoff spot they're reaching for, right? So we'll see. But no, I did take a look at Jim Bowden's article. I just scanned through it really quick. Man, it feels just like yesterday. I was reacting to all of those Jim Bowden articles, and then he blocked me after that. Those are good times. Good times. I don't think I'm blocked anymore, though. I think I'm okay now. I don't think Jim Bowden hates me anymore. Those were good times. Maybe we got to break out another one of those. Maybe. But it is funny. I will say, ever since those articles from Jim Bowden and even The Athletic, all of a sudden they don't really do those kind of articles anymore. And I think I ruffled some feathers over there at The Athletic. I'm just saying. Maury's Live, $1.99. Couldn't even win for Willie, man. And yeah, rest in peace, Willie Mays, man. Yeah. I think there's an argument that Willie Mays is the greatest player of all time when you look at the all-around game, right? Barry Bonds, you all know how I feel about Barry Bonds. I'm a big Barry Bonds guy, right? Steroids, whatever, say what you will, but everyone was taking them during that time. That was the era at the time, right? I'm not saying everyone was, but a good majority of guys were taking stuff, right? But yeah, Barry Bonds, he's always going to have that with him. But when you take a look at Barry, right, he was good defensively and with the speed in the early part of his career. In the latter part of his career, he's obviously just this freaking mammoth of a dude hitting bombs everywhere. Babe Ruth, you don't ever think of Babe Ruth and his fielding ability, right? Obviously just the bat. But when you look at the all-around game of Willie Mays, right, good center field, and no, not just the catch, right, not just that amazing catch that he made. He was just a good defensive center fielder every single day. Had good speed out there, always ran good routes. I sound like I'm talking like I watched him every day, but just when you just go look at the stats, right, and when you just go look at other highlight clips of him, he just seemed like a pretty good defensive player, right? But when you look at the numbers, he was actually excellent out there, one of the best all time when it came to defense in center field. I think you could make that argument based off of what he did with the bat while playing the great defense. I think you could make the case that Willie Mays is the greatest player of all time. But that's just my opinion. Either way, rest in peace, Willie Mays. Do we have another super chat here? What else do we got? Oh, yeah. Okay, that was it. But, yeah, Brave Thrills. Yeah, Aaron versus Mays. Yeah, you could definitely, obviously, Hank Aaron is in that conversation as well. But, yeah, so. Brandon, Rays get disrespected year after year. They deserve way more credit. If Wander Franco wasn't a weirdo, that team would be cracked. Brandon, I agree with you. I've actually been on that record before. Obviously terrible what he did off the field, but that's a big loss, right? When you lose a shortstop like that, you got to remember teams, they try to build around players like that, right? A shortstop or like a catcher. Those are those are huge building blocks of your team. When you just lose a pillar like that, that's hard to come back from. But yeah, no, the Rays, I gave them the respect this year. But like I said, coming into the year, if there was ever a year to pick against the Rays, it would have been this year. I still went with it because every time I pick against them, they always prove me wrong. This was the year I should have gone with my gut. Who knows? Maybe they could still turn things around. We'll see. So moving on, let's get to the next tier. At number 20, we got the Washington Nationals. I saw a comment in the chat a little bit earlier saying the Nationals are underrated. Right? I've been kind of feeling that way all year. I feel like they're this team that you don't want to take lightly, right? You think of the Nationals the last couple of years, how they've been selling off pieces, but they got some pretty decent players there in Washington. Overall for the week, losing 2 out of 3 against Arizona, winning 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. The offense has been pretty good over the last 7 games, ranking 11th overall. And C.J. Abrams, Jesse Winker, Lane Thomas, Young, hitting well. They're getting good production in this lineup right now. And when it comes to the FIP with the starting pitching, their FIP has been better than the ERA. Jake Irvin looked amazing today against the Rockies, 10 strikeouts over 6 innings. Mitchell Parker, this guy's having a great year. He looked good against the Rockies this past weekend. But for the Nationals, they're kind of just hanging around that wild card spot right now. Taking a look at where they're at, they're half a game out right now. They're 38 and 39. Let's see what the Nationals do. I think you could maybe see them possibly make like a buying kind of a move. Maybe. I don't know. Like they could maybe sell off a piece like Kyle Finnegan or like Hunter Harvey. I don't know, though. I feel like if you could have traded Kyle Finnegan, it probably could have been last year. So I could see them hanging on to him again. We'll see. But the Nationals, they're pretty fun. At number 19, we got the Rangers. Big story for the Rangers. Max Scherzer coming back. He looked pretty good today, right? Sat down the first 13 batters he faced. 5 innings, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, tying Greg Maddux all-time for strikeouts, 11th all-time. You think of Greg Maddux, right? It always still kind of surprises me that he was that high on the strikeout list because you think of Greg Maddux, like not really a guy that I think naturally when you think of strikeouts, you think of like the Nolan Ryans, the Pedros, the Roger Clemens, like those power pitchers, right? But Greg Maddux, he was the crafty guy, right? He was the doctor out there. He was the surgeon out there. That guy was just a menace on the mound. And but yeah, it's crazy to think Maddux, he also piled up that many strikeouts too. But Scherzer, that was a good sign. They definitely need that. Their starting pitching ranks 21st overall this year, so the Rangers could definitely use a little bit more of that. Offensively, their offense has not been clicking this year. Corey Seager, Semien, they're not having bad years necessarily, but they're not having like these monster years. They're not having these great years like they were last year. So they got to get it going a little bit more. Josh Smith, though, he's been having a great year for the Rangers this year. Wyatt Langford has been picking it up a little bit lately, hitting .320 with a .680 slugging, 2 home runs over his last 7 games. But overall for the Rangers this week, losing 2 out of 3 to the Mets. We'll get to them in just a second. But then sweeping the Royals. They've won 4 straight games now. Maybe the Rangers can start getting this turned around a little bit. We'll see. But for now, they're at number 19 on my rankings. Number 18, we got the D-backs. Another one of these weird teams this year. I mean, here you go. The 2 teams in the World Series last year, back-to-back, near the bottom half of this tier. The D-backs, up and down week for them, winning 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, but then losing 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. And right now, they're in the wild card mix here. They're a game back in the wild card, 38-40 as of right now. They're getting some pretty good offense lately. 11th in offense overall on the year. Peterson, McCarthy, Gurriel Jr., Christian Walker, they've all been producing. They just need this starting pitching to come together like they were supposed to this year. This is why a lot of people were so high on the Diamondbacks, including myself. Right, Jordan Montgomery, he had a rough stretch there not too long ago, but he did have a bounce back start against the Phillies last time out. Gallen, though, I mean, he's had the hamstring issue. He's got to get back here. Kelly, Erod, they need these guys back. They need that rotation at full strength. But I don't know. If they don't have that rotation at full strength, I'm not sure what to think of this Diamondbacks team. But those guys are making progress. We will see how long it'll be till they come back. Not really any timetable for those guys just yet. I think Gallen, out of all of them, is probably the closest, but we'll see. Number 17, we got the Tigers. Man, I was high on this Tigers team coming into the year, and they're just such a yin and a yang team, man. Very good pitching, but they're terrible offensively, right? If you want a team for, I don't want to spoil it, but let's say I'll get to the Astros in just a little bit, right? The Astros are playing great. Let's say the Astros do fall out of it. I'm already making Astros fans angry just saying that. I am sorry. But, if you were to trade Alex Bregman, that could be maybe a good rental for them to see if that could help pick up their offense. But would he even be able to, really get this offense fully going? I don't know. This offense is that bad. They're 30th overall in the last 7 games. They're 26th overall on the year. Everyone in the lineup in the last 7 games is hitting under 300, right? And that's Riley Green. He's at the top there. I think he's hitting like 280 over his last 7 games, somewhere in that range. Everyone else is just awful, right? No one can hit in this lineup. It is crazy. That's what I mean. Like, I don't even think someone like Bregman could even help this team at this point. I think it's more of a coaching thing at this point. I think it's a philosophy kind of thing. I think they're going to have to revamp something with the coaching staff in the offseason. They definitely really hit when it came to, the pitching coach and, everyone when it comes to the analytics with the pitching. They are doing great in that department, but they really need to rethink what's going on offensively with this organization, because at this point, I don't even think a hitter is going to help this team. We'll see. But they are getting some good pitching, right? I mentioned Flaherty earlier. He pitched great against the White Sox this weekend. Skubal actually got tagged a little bit against the Braves, who they got swept by this week. But Reese Olson, 6 shutout innings this past week. Casey Mize, a short start for him, but he pitched all right. But that's the story of this Tigers team right now. They're 5.5 back in the wild card race. They did win 2 out of 3 against the White Sox this weekend. You got to win those ones, right? But I don't know, man. The Tigers, they need bats. They got to do something there. Number 16, let's talk about the Astros. Oh, of course, when I put out a video this past weekend saying, I would love to see Kyle Tucker get traded to the Phillies. I would love to see Alex Bregman go to the Cubs. And of course, the Astros are just winning games left and right, sweeping the Orioles this weekend. Who saw that one coming? My goodness. Well, Con Man, you said earlier in the show that, yeah. I mean, they're playing all these good. The Orioles are playing all these, the Orioles are playing all these good teams lately. They were bound to lose a series here, but still a sweep. I didn't expect a sweep. But the Astros, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're 4 back in the wild card, 6 back in the division. They still have work to do here. Listen, I know the Astros are hot, but they still have work to do. The offense has been good all year, right? That has not been the issue with this Astros team. It has been the pitching, both in the rotation and in the bullpen. The starting pitching has been the key for this turnaround. ERA under a 3 in the last 7 days from the rotation. Framber Valdez, he looked fantastic against the Orioles today. Looked like the Framber Valdez of old. Blanco, Brown, they've been pitching great. Hunter Brown was a disappointment for me. I did my most disappointing players video not too long ago, and I mentioned him there because it's like Hunter Brown, like this is a guy that was supposed to take a step forward this year, and he hasn't been able to, but he's been pitching better lately. Back into the bullpen has also been holding it down. This was a struggle for the Astros in the beginning of the year where Hader, Presley, and Abreu, they've been starting to hold it down a little bit at the back end. So, hey, that's the one thing with this Astros team. They can hit. They have to pitch, right? So let's see what they do this coming week. They have a lot of ground still to make up. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the Astros going to be buyers. I'm not there just yet because their farm system is in the bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. And, I had a comment this past weekend, too. I don't know if you're watching or not, but he said, like, he listed off all these players that the Astros have developed. But these are players that are with the major league team, right? When you look at the minor league team, or the minor league teams, yeah, they got a couple of good guys down there, but they don't have a lot of depth in this farm system. If there was ever a year for the Astros to sell off some pieces, including someone like Kyle Tucker, who's just over a year away until free agency, you can cash in and get some youth for the future. You got to think about it, right? I knew when I posted that video yesterday, I knew I was going to get comments saying, I can't believe this guy's even talking about trading Kyle Tucker. Listen, I'm not talking about it from a player point of view. I'm talking about it from an organizational construction point of view. Sorry, Kyle Tucker, really good player, has a little bit of control. He's going to get you back some pretty good prospects. And hey, your organization doesn't have a lot of good prospects. I'm just saying it might help. Might help. Even Bregman, too, might bring back a couple of good pieces. But we'll see. Astros are playing great right now. Let's see if they can keep this up. That's all there is on that. Okay, here we go. Number 15. We got the Reds. I think you'd even make the argument the Astros could be ahead of the Reds here. I'll pump the brakes just a little bit. The Astros, I mean, they've been a lot lower than this. They got a big jump this week. I'll hold tight right there, and I'll keep the Reds at 15 for now. But for the Cincinnati Reds, losing 2 out of 3 to my Red Sox this weekend, and actually, really quick, let me just double check. One thing here with the Reds. One thing. Let me double check. I feel like I might have gotten something wrong. They also lost 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. They also lost 2 out of 3 to the Brewers last week. They split with the Guardians before that, but they were playing really well before that, so they're hitting a bit of a cold stretch right now. They got the Pirates and the Cardinals coming up this week. So it's kind of like the Astros are hot, the Reds are cold, that gap is closed. I can see some Astros. I'm already gonna predict this right now. I'm gonna get a lot of grumpy Astros fans in my comments because I got the Reds ahead of them. But again, I think you could make the argument the Astros could be at 15. I definitely see the argument. For me personally, I'm just going to give it another week before I really start to heat up on the Astros. I'm getting warm with the Astros, but I need to see another week before I move them into the top 15. But as for the Reds, offense has cooled off, right? Not just their record, it's the offense. They're still getting great pitching, right? Hunter Green looked great against the Pirates. Only 2 hits allowed, 9 strikeouts. Frankie Montas was looking good against my Red Sox. He got pulled after 75 pitches. I don't know why. I mean, he was pitching great. Lodolo did not look great against my Red Sox today, but he was really good in his last 4 starts before that. So they're getting good pitching. But the offense, they need to get this going again. They don't rank very well over the last week, so they got to pick this up here. But the Reds, hey, man. Oh, Ellie De La Cruz, man. Getting to watch him this past weekend against my Red Sox. Ellie De La Cruz, man. That guy's so good. So good. Let's talk about GRIMACE. We got to talk about GRIMACE. What the heck is going on with this New York Mets team? This GRIMACE thing is awesome. I love GRIMACE. Out of all the McDonald's characters, GRIMACE was probably my favorite one, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think. Who were the McDonald's characters again? Obviously, Ronald McDonald. You had the Hamburglar. Hamburglar was pretty fun. I always loved that name, the Hamburglar. I always remember The Rock. For wrestling fans out there back in the day, back in like 2003, I think it was, like The Rock, he came back and he was doing something with the Hurricane. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about right now, but he called the Hurricane was like a superhero character in wrestling at the time. And The Rock was like, who the heck are you? You're the Hamburglar. That always made me laugh. That was always so funny to me. But GRIMACE was always he was so good. It was just this purple blob. All right, it's like, how can you not love this guy? How can you not love this thing? But he is helping. He threw the first pitch, and ever since then, the Mets have just gone crazy, right? Eighth in offense overall, 3rd in offense in the last 7 games. Man, Francisco Alvarez, Nimmo, Alonso, all hitting over 400 in the last 7 games. JD Martinez, Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos. That's one of my breakout players for this year. Hitting great, getting a lot of bats going, man. Pitching has been good. 11th in starting pitching. Fangraph wins above replacement over the last 7 games. A 4.17 FIP compared to the 5+ ERA over the last 7 games. But they've been getting some, ERA or FIP of 4, not great, but that's because they've had a couple of clunkers mixed in there. They've had some really good starts here. Quintana, McGill, Peterson, they all picked up wins this past week. Severino looked fantastic tonight. 6 innings, shutout ball, 10 strikeouts. The Mets are playing great. I put out a tweet, I think it was this past week. It went completely viral. I did not expect it. I didn't even know it was something. It was the, remember that craze when the GRIMACE milkshake came out? It was the purple milkshake, and then everyone was getting like bludgeoned by GRIMACE in like the woods or whatever. Like some kid got like stuffed into a basketball hoop. Like it was like these TikTok videos that these kids out there were making where like GRIMACE was like attacking them in the woods or like in the river or something, and they were like they were like holding the milkshake while they're passed out on the ground and whatever. So I put pictures of those, and I said, anyone that plays the Mets right now are these guys, right? Because the Mets are just wrecking everything, right? I'm just saying. Anyway, I talked way too much about GRIMACE. I'm sorry. Number 13, we got the Cardinals. How about the Cardinals, man? Cardinals are looking pretty good. They did lose 2 out of 3 to Miami this week, but picking it back up this past weekend, 2 out of 3 against the Giants. They have a wild card spot as of right now. I was starting to give up on the Cardinals in the beginning of the year. I was a little too short-sighted in my opinion, looking back on it. I should have known better because I'm thinking, coming into the year, I was higher on the Cardinals than a lot of people out there. I think I just gave up on them a little too quick. But, this is a Cardinals team that has talent, man. They brought in some pieces in the offseason. Sonny Gray, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. I'm higher on those guys than most people were. And I thought the rotation was okay because at least they gave you innings. And, they're looking all right now, man. The offense, pitching, pretty good lately. Donovan Burleson hitting great. Goldschmidt, Wynn hitting well. Mason Wynn, breakout guy this year. Really love what Mason Wynn is doing. Actually mentioned Mason Wynn. I did a redraft video this past week. I did a 2020 redraft. Go check that out if you haven't. I had Mason Wynn going in the top 10 in there. I had him going to the Angels. Could you imagine Mason Wynn on the Angels? I'm just saying. But he's hitting great. Donovan's red hot lately. Sonny Gray, Michaelis, they have been pitching well. Kyle Gibson was really good in his last time out against the Cubs, dealing with a bit of a back issue. I believe he's coming back this coming week. So JJ Productions, thank you. Yeah, Helsley. Everyone is looking great for the Cardinals right now. They dropped a series against the Marlins, right? But this Cardinals team, they're hanging in here right now. They're right in the thick of things in the wild card. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 3 straight, 39 and 37. Hey, man, you got good players on this team, right? Got good players. So let's move on. Also, I want to shout out the bullpen too, right? You got guys like Kittredge, who's been having a pretty good year, right? Jojo Romero, he's having a pretty good year back there. Gotta love what they're doing. Here we go. Moving on. Number 12. We got the Kansas City Royals. Wow. The Royals. They were in the top 10 there for a long time. But remember, coming into the year, remember what I said about the Royals, right? I'm not sure where I said this exactly. I think I'm honestly paraphrasing what I said. I feel like I was saying something along the lines of, maybe Kansas City can get off to a good start, but I just don't know what they're going to be like over the course of a year, right? Because, you already had this weaker division over the last few years helping them out. And, you got to look at the Royals last year. They won 56 games, I believe. So I'm thinking, all right, you made a lot of moves in the offseason, but really, how much better are you going to be? Because, while you do have guys like, Bobby Witt Jr., Cole Reagans was a massive pickup, and you're adding pieces like Lugo and Waka in the offseason, Renfroe. I just wasn't sure how far this Royals team could go, and they're starting to show some signs here of fading and falling back. Not a great week for the Kansas City Royals. They're 3-7 in the last 10. They're officially out of a playoff spot as of right now. The offense. That was one thing I worried about coming into the year. Sure, I saw some upside in the rotation, but when it comes to the offense, Bobby Witt Jr., right? Maikel Garcia, you got some guys there, but obviously, and Pasquantino, of course, right? But I was just wondering about some of these other guys, right? Guys that are actually hitting okay right now. Melendez, Isbell, Lofton, but other guys are slumping, right? Bobby Witt, Pasquantino, Maikel Garcia, they've been slumping. So the offense right now is not clicking on all cylinders. They are getting some pretty good pitching. Reagans, Lugo, Waka, they've pitched well lately. The bullpen hasn't been very good, though. 28th in the last 14 games. So right now the Royals, they're not clicking on all cylinders. We'll see if they can get this turned around here, but I have them at number 12 for this week. Oh, I'm going to make some people grumpy with this next one. I think I've been having... Who has been commenting on my power rankings videos the last 2 times? It's a Mariners fan. I feel like his name is Bob. I could be wrong. I feel like the name it's Bob something. I'm going to make you grumpy, man. I am sorry, but I am putting the Mariners at number 11. I'm doing it. I wanted to put the Mariners in the top 10, all right? But they're just not doing it for me this week, losing 2 out of 3 to Miami and Cleveland. Their offense, it's just... I don't know what to say about the offense. What do you want me to say? They're 18th overall in the last 7 games. J-Rod Crawford, Haniger, Garver slumping. Ryan Bliss was called up recently. He's been hitting pretty well. Canzoni, he's been hitting okay. But they're just, I don't know. The offense, they need to do something with... I think they recently got rid of the director of hitting or whatever that position was called. I think they made a change there. Because this team, they're leading in strikeouts in the major leagues. Listen, you got so much talent in this lineup, and this is a lineup that should be doing more. But remember, it's not just about the players that you have. It's also about the strategy. It's also about the coaching staff. It's the people in the analytics department, coming up with those strategies for you, and they're just not putting it together here. Remember, it's not just the players. It's an entire organization. That's why every time you hear when a team wins a World Series or whatever else, World Series, Super Bowl, NBA championship, like my Celtics, had to get that in there. It's never just like, oh, man, everyone in the team has been great. You always hear them say, oh, no, it's everyone in the organization. Everyone has just, been great. Everyone's been fantastic. It's never just about the players. It's the entire staff that goes along with it. And I think that's what's holding back the Mariners, in my opinion. They got it, just like the Tigers. They got it figured out on the pitching side of things. They're pitching great. Kirby, Gilbert pitching great. Miller, though, he got pounded today. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this Mariners team. I guarantee, Mr. Bob, I'm sorry, I forgot what the full username was, but I know you're going to get grumpy with me. But unfortunately, I got the Mariners outside of the top 10 before we get to the top 10. Let's get to a couple of super chats here. JJ Productions, thank you for becoming a member, my friend. You are amazing. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any other super chats before that. Nope. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. Nationals are a little low, to be honest. They should be ahead of the Rangers, Tigers, Reds, and Mets. They have a better record than all those teams. Yeah, but Jimmy, I don't fully look at the record, right? Yeah, record, sure. You definitely can make that argument. But I'm also looking at offense, right? I'm looking at pitching, right? I'm looking at bullpen. Nationals have against a good pitching this year, right? I think you can definitely, make, where do I have I got the Nationals at number 20. I think you could make the argument for the Nationals being ahead of the Rangers and the D-backs. I'm a little higher on the D-backs offense personally, but I can definitely see the pitching side of things for the Nationals to be ahead of the D-backs. I think you can make the argument for the Nationals to be ahead of the Rangers, to be completely honest. Maybe I'll make that change really quick. Let's see. Let me go back to, let me check one little thing here. Un momento. Hold on.
When you've been injured in an accident or on the job due to the negligence of others, know this.
I don't know what is going on. Okay. Hold on one second, everyone. Let me see. I can't get it pulled up. Or can I get it pulled up? Nah, I can't get it pulled up. Anyway, for the Nationals, I'm going to keep them at number 20 for right now. But I definitely see what you mean, though, Jimmy. I will say I still think I want to keep the Tigers and the Reds ahead of the Nats right now. I don't agree with the Mets right now because the Mets are just red hot, right? They're just beating everyone right now. You can't beat Grimace right now. But I could definitely hear the argument for the Rangers. I could even see it for the D-backs, too. I could see it for the Tigers. Let's see what the Nationals do this coming week. If they have a good week, I will definitely thrust them up a little bit higher. But everyone, before I do get to the top 10, do just want to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is So Rare. We are partners again with So Rare. That is a great thing to see. Really enjoyed my time with So Rare when we were partners with them last year. So to be with them again feels fantastic. And I've told you all before, out of all the times I have played fantasy baseball, So Rare is probably the most fun way I've ever played, right? I've played ESPN, Fantasy Baseball, Yahoo. Yeah, sure, that makes you feel like you're, managing your team on the daily. But what I like about So Rare is it's just a different experience. I feel like it's not going to be, as intensive as daily fantasy, right? But that's kind of why I like it in a way. It's a bit more of a laid-back thing, but it's also, you get sort of that incentive, right? When you're trying to collect cards to build your team, and the better you can build your team, obviously the better the chance you will have at winning and being higher in the rankings. It almost kind of reminds me of I don't think this is a great comparison, but like Pokemon Go. Remember when everyone was playing Pokemon Go back in, 2016, 2017? But, the better or not even Pokemon Go, right? Pokemon on the Game Boy, right? The better the Pokemon you had, the better the chance you had at winning. That's what I feel like here, where the fantasy baseball, you just draft your team in the beginning of the year. You can try and make trades and whatnot, waiver wire. But here, you draft your team and you try to collect cards as you go. And the better you do, the better the prizes that you can get and the more cards that you can win. So that's why I kind of like the idea of it. So for this week, everyone, we're going to go set the lineup for this coming week. So there's a whole bunch of different tournaments, competitions that you can join. The better the cards you have, the better the competitions you'll be able to join. For me right now, I'm just probably right around here, the Common All-Star. I do got some limited cards, right? Because when it comes to Sorare, you got limited cards, rare cards, super rare cards. For me, I got a couple of limited ones, but I'm better off with the Common All-Star right now. So you go on here, you set your lineup, and they got this little nifty thing here. We got the field, right? We got Corbin Burns, Tanner Houck on my team. Honestly, with Tanner Houck, man, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Man, I've really liked what he's been doing. But Corbin Burns, man, he's also been really good. So, taking a look, Tanner Houck, he's going to get the start against the Blue Jays. I just feel like right now, the way the Blue Jays are looking, I'm going to go with Tanner Houck there. Clay Holmes is my closer. For a corner infielder, I got Bryce Harper, Jordan Westburg, or I could go with Brent Rooker there. For me, obviously, it's going to be Bryce Harper. And then for the middle infielder, I'll go Jordan Westburg. There, he's having a breakout year. I think you could also go with Mason Wynn. He's also been hitting pretty well lately. I'll go with Westburg. I think that's a pretty solid for me, he's just breaking out in a big way this year. Mason Wynn is too, though. Teoscar Hernandez, Brent Rooker for my outfield. I'm going to go with Teoscar. He's been hitting a little bit better as of late. And then for my extra hitter, I could go Wynn. I could go Volpe. I'll go Rooker. And I'll go Wynn here. He's been playing better as of late. And then you got a flex. And for me, I'm going to go Corbin Burns, right? Now I got Houck and Corbin Burns going. So there's my lineup for this coming week. So that enters me in to the Common All-Star competition. So if you want to join in, if you want to go draft your own team, that would be amazing because it really helps support the channel. The more signups we can get, the more likely we can be partners with Sorare long term. Just saying, it helps out everyone here. So, and it's completely free to sign up. You don't have to pay a dime to sign up. You go click the link in the description and go draft your team. It's completely free. You can pay money. You can go buy cards if you want, but to sign up and just draft your team, it's completely free. So click the link in the description down below. They also got all these competitions coming up for this coming month and July as well. As of right now, they got an event called the All-Star Collection event. That's where you try to collect as many collections of cards of teams with players on those teams. And the more collections that you get, the more higher up leaderboards that you can get and the better the prizes that you can win, which could also include a VIP trip to the All-Star Game festivities in July. I'm just saying, take advantage, go sign up, link in the description down below. And also, really quick, do just want to shout out a sponsor just for this past weekend on one of the videos or last weekend that I posted, and that is Exter Wallets. Exter Wallets right now, they have a great deal going. They have a 4th of July sale, and they're trackable wallets. They are really cool, man. I've been using mine, and I love it. It's very slim. It fits in my pocket nicely. Not like this, big, bulky wallet that I got here. It keeps my cards in there nice and snug, and it has a trackable card in there that you can also order along with it. So if you lose your wallet, you'll know exactly where it is because you can track it on your phone. But go check out Exter. Use the code HIDE. You get an extra 5% off on top of their sale. So here we go, everyone. Let's get back to the power rankings. Here we go. We got the top 10. We actually got a super chat coming in. Super chat. Oh, Jimmy Productions. You had another super chat here. I'm surprised the Mets are doing this good after they traded Francisco Lindor to the A's. Oh, man. The Mets. Grimace, man. You got to love Grimace. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. I don't know about the Giants being sellers because the Giants don't make the playoffs. 80 will be fired. Yeah, that's why I think the Giants, they're really going to go all in. I think they're not going to sell, right? They did all these moves. I mean, that would look ridiculous if they sold. So, but here we go, everyone. Let's get to it. Here we go. Top 10. Here we go. We got the Brewers at number 10. Not playing amazing as of late. Tough weekend for them, losing 3 out of 4 to the San Diego Padres. Did win 2 out of 3 against the Angels, but tough series against the Padres there. I'm just saying, they've been pretty cold this month. They're 10-10. They were playing great for the first couple of months there, and they've been kind of chugging a little bit. I love what the offense has done this year. Bryce Terang, this guy's been hitting great, still hitting well, hitting over 300 with over a 600 slugging over the last 7 games, but they're not really getting great pitching right now. Tobias Myers, he's been pitching well, 6 1/3 shutout innings against the Angels, but this Brewers team, they feel really stagnant right now. You know, they're not getting a whole lot of offense outside of Bryce Terang. You know, they're hitting a bit of a clunker right now. It does not help that they lost 3 out of 4 to the Padres. And up next, we got those Padres. I mean, I can't put the Padres behind the Brewers after the Padres just took 3 out of 4. I think there's a case sometimes where you don't have to put a team ahead. It depends, but they were already pretty close in my own personal rankings. So when you're already pretty close and then you win 3 out of 4, I mean, for me, I think you got to do it. Now, if you had like the number 2 team and like the number 10 team, and the number 10 team wins 3 out of 4, no, I'm not going to have that team leapfrog them because that's a pretty good distance. But for these two, they were pretty close in my own rankings. And I'm just saying, Kyle Sherman, listen, the Padres, they are better than you think, my friend. Kyle Sherman, are you a Dodgers fan? You're a Dodgers fan, aren't you? Tell me in the chat, you're a Dodgers fan. I can smell it. Dodgers all over you. Where was I? Did lose 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. I will say that. Did lose 2 out of 3 against the Phillies. Yeah, Kyle Sherman. The Padres are 41-41. Let's go check the standings. Let's go check. Let's go see. I'm going to do my math. I knew that comment was coming. I knew it was coming. Let's see. Padres, 41-41. The Nationals, they're half a game out, 38-39. D-backs are a game out, 38-40. I don't know. According to my math, even a 500 team is in the playoffs right now. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know what else you want me to say, my friend. I don't know, right? The National League is full of 500 teams right now. In the National League, you have 5 teams over 500, with the 5th team only being 2 games under 500. I'm just saying, right? But yeah, the Brewers, they're 4 games ahead. But for right now, I'm going with the hot hand. I'm liking the Padres right now. Just saying. They won 3 out of 4. Just saying. Padres have a top 10 offense in the last 7 games. Jackson Merrill, Machado, Cronenworth, all hitting well. They're not getting amazing pitching. Dylan Cease getting pretty lit up lately, having some injuries in that rotation. Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, but Matt Waldron, the knuckleballer, he's looking great. Matt Waldron's been awesome this year. I love Matt Waldron. Michael King, he's looking okay too. But yeah, I'm going with the hot hand here. I'm going with the Padres at number 9 over the Brewers because I guarantee you, if I had the Brewers at number 9 and the Padres at number 10, everyone, you'd have the other side of the coin freaking out, right? So I'm going to go with the hot hand. Bob Smith, how are they the hot hand? Because they just won 3 out of 4 against the Brewers. Am I missing something? I must be missing something. Padres fans, can you stick up for me? Where are the Padres fans here? I got these people getting grumpy at me in the chat. Here we go. Number 8, we got the Twins. Moving on from the Padres. If you don't like it, eat my shorts. Right here, I If you got a complaint, here's the complaint department for you. There's the complaint department for you. Number 8, we got the Twins losing 2 out of 3 to the Rays, winning 2 out of 3 against Oakland. The Twins are a really weird team right now. The Twins have been hot and cold all year. Right now, they're riding a hot streak. They're 7-3 in their last 10. The offense, red hot lately. First in the last 7 games. Royce Lewis, 4 home runs over his last 7 games. Carlos Correa, Santana, Castro, red hot. I'm just saying. This Twins offense, they're hitting well right now. They're getting some pretty decent pitching. But what are they going to be like next week? Are they going to go ice cold? Because that's what this Twins team likes to do this year. They get red hot, and then they just completely fall off a cliff. I'm just saying. So, moving on here. At number 7. Look at that. How about that? How about my Red Sox at number 7? Why are people in the chat saying the Padres aren't hot? They just won 3 out of 4. That's hot. That's okay. Maybe it's not red hot, but it's hot. I'm just saying. Well, goodness gracious. Move on. It's the bottom 10. No one cares about the bottom 10 anyway. We care about the top 10, the top 5 in the top 10. Anyway, let me have my moment here. The Red Sox. You want to talk about a red hot team? Let's talk about the Red Sox. Just saying. They've been playing great. What is going on with my Red Sox right now? Coming into the year, everyone was counting out my Red Sox. Maybe me a little bit. But I was one of the few people out there saying, I think this Red Sox team... Hey, Bob, see you later. Bob Smith, see you later, my friend. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Please have yourself some warm milk while you get some shut-eye. The Red Sox, they've been fantastic. 12-7 this month. They've been just playing a lot of good baseball lately. They're officially a wild card team as of right now. Top 10 offense in the last 7. 12th overall. Jarren Duran. Why is Jarren Duran not in the top 20 when it comes to All-Star game voting? Why? What is going on? What are we doing? We need to be a little bit better with the All-Star game voting. And this is not for the bias. This is not the bias. Jarren Duran is one of the top offensive, not just offensive, but defensive performers when it comes to outfielders in the American League. Now, I don't think Jarren Duran necessarily should start in the All-Star game. My personal top 3 would be Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Kyle Tucker. That's my starting outfield for the American League. Jarren Duran needs to get there, though, right? Because when you look at Jarren Duran, when it comes to all of the offensive categories, you're looking at average among outfielders, you're looking at stolen bases easily. He's right there at the top when it comes to stolen bases, right? On base percentage, slugging. He's not at the very top of each category, but he's near the top of all of the categories, right? I think Duran, with the way he's been playing, he's just not just offensively, but defensively too. That was something that held back Duran a lot last year, was the defense, right? But here he is this year, much better out there. He needs to go to the All-Star game. The fact that he wasn't even in the top 20 and you had guys that were batting like under 200, I think there were 4 guys in the top 20 of the outfielders in the All-Star game voting batting under 200. What are we doing? What is happening? Why? This is why I'm sorry. I don't think the All-Star game voting should be for the fans. Unfortunately, I think there's just been, it's silly. I think there should be some kind of fan interaction. I don't think that should be the driving force. Listen, I know there's a lot of good fans out there. A lot of you here in the chat, you are fantastic. But unfortunately, a lot of people out there, it's a popularity contest. That's all it is, right? And it's, I don't know. I know Major League Baseball, I know on the ballot they put the stats I know it's there for you, but it is what it is, man. I just think he's even if he's not even in the top 5, but at least he should be in the top 10, and he's not even in the top 20. Anyway. Tyler O'Neill, he's been hitting great. 3 home runs in his last 7 games. He is a difference maker. Anytime this guy's out of the lineup, this lineup stinks. When he's in the lineup, they're good. Rafaela Wong, Ref Snyder hitting great. Casas is going to be back soon. This offense is doing well without him. Wait till he gets back and he starts mashing, man. Bayo, Houck, they both look good against the Blue Jays. Bayo, that was a good sign too. He's been pretty rough lately. Bullpen has been great as of late. But the Red Sox, they're playing great baseball right now. They're playing great baseball. So, number 6, how about the Braves? The Braves are picking it up. 8-2 in their last 10 games. They hit that bit of a rough stretch not too long ago. But this was always a team where I'm thinking, okay, all right, they're going through some bumps right now. They lost Ronald Acuna Jr. They're having some health issues, right? Spencer Strider at the beginning of the year. But this is a team where I'm still looking at it. I'm like, okay, this is still a pretty sound team, right? Maybe they could add a little something, but, I still think this is a good team. And they're showing you they are, right? 8-2 in their last 10, winning 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, sweeping the Tigers. Max Fried, he looked great today against the Yankees. 6 innings, 1 earned. Chris Sale, Lopez looked great this past week. Austin Riley, this is a guy that really needs to pick it up. And he is doing it. Hitting 375 with a 750 slugging over his last 7 games. This is a guy, man, when Ronald Acuna Jr. went down and you go take a look at Austin Riley's numbers, you're thinking, oh boy, man, if we want to save this lineup right here, Austin Riley got to pick it up, and he's doing it, right? So the Braves, they're starting to cook a little bit. I'm not quite top 5 right now, but I expect this Braves team to be back in the top 5, at least by the All-Star break. I think they should be in the top 5. We will see, though. We will see. Oh, Sound FX just in time. $10 super chat. Braves at number 6. Great. Swept the Tigers at home, then beat the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. 3 at St. Louis, 1 at Chicago, then 3 versus Pittsburgh. Offense starting to sizzle. Pitching looks good. Ozuna, Lopez, and Sale for the All-Star game. Sound FX, it's always good when you are in a good mood. Always love that for you, my friend. It's like funny. I can see the emotion, whether if it's sad or whether if it's happy. I can just read it. It's like I can just feel it through the text. It's just there, man. I love the good vibes. I love it. But yeah, I was saying to you a couple of weeks ago, Sound FX, I'm not gonna worry about this Braves team because they're still really good. So glad to see you're in good spirits, my friend. Let's get to the top 5. I had a tough time with this one. I had a bit of a tough time, but if we're sticking with the theme of sticking with the hot hand, this is where I had a bit of a tough time because I am content with who I have at number 5. The problem I have is at number 4 and 3. This is where it could get a bit iffy. This is where I'm going to make some people grumpy. Remember, it's also been a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks here, so there's been a little bit more action going on. Man, I almost kind of want to make an audible here. I'm trying to defend this team. I'm still just like, I don't know. I think I might have to do an audible here. But it's tough. It's tough. Because, well, I'll tell you right now. Number 5, it's either going to be the Orioles or the Yankees. Right? I had a hard time coming in with this. I was going back and forth on this for the last few hours before I was getting ready. Now, if you put the Orioles at 5, it just would be weird, right? Because they just won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. but the Yankees are still ahead of them in the division. So that's the problem, right? It's like I almost kind of want to do a vote for this one because, like, I think you could make an argument for either side. The Yankees, I would say, based off of what we've seen for the majority of the year, I think you give a slight edge to the Yankees. But just lately, the Orioles winning their series against the Yankees, but they're still a couple of games behind in the division, right? I don't know. And actually, what is the Orioles' record? Let me actually see the Orioles' record against the Yankees this year. I feel like they've pretty much handled them for the most part. They're 5-2 against the Yankees. So it's weird, right? Because the Orioles clearly have the Yankees number, but the Yankees are first in the division. Let's do a vote. I don't usually do votes, but this one's a little iffy. I need to see what you all think. Let's see. A little bit of fan interaction here. Let's go. What's the question here? Who's ahead? Orioles or Yankees? I'm actually very interested in this. Yankees. Orioles. Here we go. I'm going to look at this poll. Oh, wow. Orioles jumping out to a massive lead. Wow. About 100 votes already, and it's the majority for Baltimore. Wow. Just saying. I mean, hey, well, I'm going to stick with what I had then. I'm going to go with the Guardians at 5. I'm going to go with the Yankees at number 4. And I'm going to go with the Orioles at number 3. All right. And I think you could make the argument for the Guardians to maybe be in the 4th spot. I'm going to stick with the Yankees at the 4th spot. I like what the Guardians are doing lately. They're playing great baseball, sweeping the Blue Jays, winning 2 out of 3 against Seattle. Whoa! We got a super chat bomb in the chat. Oh my goodness. From Nathan, a $50 bomb in the chat. Cleveland won 5 in a row, but they still need to trade for starting pitching. I agree. Offense has been great. Will Brennan hitting bombs. Jose looking great. Naylor brothers heating up. Scared for David Fry. Got pulled for arm soreness. Oh, David Fry's been so good this year. One of my breakout players. One of my most surprising players this year. But yeah, Cleveland's offense, man, they've been great. 7th in offense this past week. Stephen Kwan. This guy's just so good. I love Stephen Kwan. One of the best players in baseball, in my opinion. When you go look at the FanGraph WAR leaderboards, he's right up there. Like you said, Brennan, he's just been crazy lately. But yeah, they need to add some starting pitching. That's where, the Guardians, to me, I love what they're doing. I really do. But if you're thinking like playoffs, right? They should be able to make it to the playoffs. But winning a playoff series, like when I'm looking at this rotation, right? There's upside in this rotation, right? Taking a look. Like Ben Lively's been great this year, right? ERA right around a 3. Tanner Bybee, he's always going to be solid for you. But Logan Allen's having a down year. McKenzie's kind of up and down. Carrasco is just kind of whatever at this point. I would love for the Guardians to go do something. Now, I saw someone mention the idea of Garrett Crochet for the Guardians. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen just because it's in the division, right? But if they could pull something off like that, it won't happen. But, I don't know. They need to do something, though. They need to add something for this rotation. I thought Jesus Luzardo could have been an idea. I wasn't sure if maybe they were great trade partners, but still, like Luzardo healthy, I think would be awesome for this rotation. Just give him someone just that had that playoff experience last year, you know? I'm just saying. But Cleveland, I completely agree with you. Now, the way Cleveland's been going about this is they've just been riding the starting pitching as long as they can, and they've just been handing it off to this bullpen, which has been one of the best in Major League Baseball. So I like what the Guardians are doing here. The big issue with the Guardians coming into the year was the offense. You weren't really sure what you were going to get. They had a pretty weak offense last year, but they have really turned this around. You know, Stephen Kwan is hitting .390. What is happening? Coming into today, he was hitting .390. I mean, you got Jose Ramirez doing his thing, Josh Naylor doing his thing, 19 home runs for him. David Fry has been a great story. Brennan, you know, he's been going off lately. So they got guys really stepping up here. I would love for the Guardians to just go do something. You know, go make a move. Go make a splash. Go pull the trigger on something. You know, so many years I've wanted the Guardians to just make a move, right? To go do something. You know, I always think back, you know, go back to that 2017, the Indians team, right? God, I thought that team was going to make a run, and they just couldn't do it. Anyway, I can ramble on here, but I completely agree with you. I completely agree. I think they need to go get something for this rotation. Well, it depends on who they want to give up to. You know, like if they want to go get like a marquee name, I don't think they're going to give up. They're not going to give up Chase DeLauder. You know, maybe they give up like Jason Churio. Manzardo, that was another guy you were hoping for. I don't think they would move on from him, you know, after a small sample size. Someone like Ralphie Velasquez, you know, could you part with him? They do got some pieces in here to get a deal done. You know, they're going to have to find just the right fit. You know, they're going to have to find the right trade partner. But they got some pieces, right? Thank you so much for that huge super chat bomb, Nathan. $50. That's crazy, man. Thank you so much for that. That's greatly appreciated. Especially today, man, where, you know, Major League Baseball hitting the copyright claims on not just my channel, but so many channels out there. That is so huge, man. Everyone else, too. Everyone, thank you for all that. I appreciate that. Nathan, you're amazing, my friend. Thank you. But getting back to the rankings, right? I got the Guardians at 5. I saw someone in the chat saying, well, why aren't you riding the hot hand with the Guardians? Here's the thing. It's the Yankees, right? The Yankees have been phenomenal all year, right? Just because the Guardians, they've won, you know, I believe they've won 5 straight. Is it 5 straight for the Guardians at this point? If my potato brain serves me correctly, yes, 5 straight games at this point. You know, here's the thing. I actually did ride the hot hand with Cleveland not too long ago when they won 9 straight games. When you're in the top 5, you know, you gotta get a little you gotta get into the nitty gritty at this point, right? Yeah, the Guardians, they're playing better than the Yankees right now, but this Yankees team has been phenomenal all year. But not playing great as of right now. Losing 2 out of 3 to Baltimore and Atlanta this past week. Good teams. Let's say that as well, right? Yeah, the Yankees lost both their series, but those are good teams, right? Offense has gone a little bit cold lately, though. 19th in the last 7. Aaron Judge is still hitting pretty well. But the pitching, it's pretty lackluster lately. Marcus Stroman, Rodon, Luis Gil, they're getting hit hard lately. But right now, I got the Yankees ahead of the Guardians just because this Yankees team has been so good all year. The Guardians have been good, too. If I'm going into right now, if you're going into a playoff series, Yankees-Guardians, oof, that's tough. That's tough. I think I would have to go with the Yankees at this point. That's just kind of where I'm at. It's where I'm at, right? And the Orioles did get swept by the Astros. I was a little shocked by that, to be honest, but still won their series against the Yankees this week. Second in offense overall. Henderson, Westberg, Santander, they've been hot lately, each with 3 home runs in the last 7 games. They're 4th in starting pitching. You want to talk about another team? That needs some starting pitching right now? Baltimore Orioles. I think Garrett Crochet would be the perfect fit. when it comes to a need as well as teams that are trade partners. I think the White Sox and the Orioles line up perfectly for a Garrett Crochet trade. If you were to do either Kobe Mayo or Samuel Basallo, I think one of those two could be the centerpiece of a deal for Garrett Crochet. And I know there's going to be pushback on that, but you have to remember, if you want to land someone like Garrett Crochet, who's really good, has over 3 years of control, is cheap with the salary, it's going to be expensive. Economically, you are going to have to part with either Basallo or Kobe Mayo in a deal like that if you wanted to get Garrett Crochet. I think it would be great for them. I think that would be a huge pickup for them. We'll see. But Bradish out for the season. They've been getting hit with injuries left and right? They need some starting pitching in this rotation, right? Corbin Burns didn't look great against the Astros. He took the L. Bullpen did get it done a couple of times this week. They have the 4th best bullpen in Major League Baseball. So, Orioles, I still really like this team. I know the Yankees are ahead in the division. I slightly like this Orioles team a little bit better. I think they just rank better overall when you just take a look at all the stats when it comes to offense, starting pitching, relief pitching, as well as fielding. I just like this Orioles team. Number two, we got the Dodgers winning 3 out of 4 against the Rockies, splitting with the Angels. Ohtani meeting up with his old friends. Ohtani, he is red hot right now, man. It is crazy how hot this guy is. Last 7 games, hitting .481, a .588 on base, a slugging of 1.259, 6 home runs, 3rd in starting pitching in the last 7 games. Tyler Glasnow is pitching great. 1 earned run in his last 14 innings with 19 strikeouts. Paxton, Stone, Knack, they've been looking good. Yamamoto dealing with a shoulder issue right now. I would imagine he's going to be fine at some point. You got to remember, first year over in America. He's gonna have a couple of setbacks here and there as he gets adjusted. Walker Buehler dealing with a hip issue right now. Kershaw, though, on a rehab assignment. Did pitch pretty well this past week. But the Dodgers, they are looking great as of late. Number 1, I got the Phillies. Not great last week, but this past week, they won both their series against Arizona and San Diego. They have the 4th best offense, 3rd in the last 7. Bryce Harper's red hot. Kyle Schwarber, Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos hitting well. Trey Turner returned this past week. He's hitting well since coming back, getting good starting pitching. They are 2nd in starting pitching in Major League Baseball. Christopher Sanchez, 7 shutout innings today, got a contract extension as well. I think that's a great move. He has been fantastic for them. He got a 4-year, $22.5 million deal with 2 club options. Great move for the Philadelphia Phillies, getting him signed up. Ranger Suarez, he was solid this past week, got a no decision. Zach Wheeler, 7 good innings against the D-backs. Bullpen ranks 2nd overall. They have a top 10 defense. At this point, if you were going to ask me for my World Series, I really like the Phillies and the Orioles right now, man. This Phillies team, I love the way they're looking. Dodgers fans, I know I'm making you sad right now. I just love the Phillies right now. Love the Orioles right now. Love those 2 teams. We will see, though. We will see. But everyone, those are my power rankings for this week. Took a week off, and we are back, and I'm back to making people grumpy in the chat. I know, I'm making people grumpy. It's okay to disagree. As always, just know I always just joke. If I show you the if I show you the complaint department, then that's okay. I'm just joking with you. No, but I respect all of your opinions. Let me know in the comments after the stream. Tell me what you think. But everyone, thank you again. Always a pleasure to have all of you come out. Don't forget about So Rare, our sponsor. Again, go to the link in the description. Go sign up. It's completely free. Go check it out. And also, make sure to check out Exter. That was a sponsor of ours in a video not too long ago. And go check out Mando. They sponsored our last video that I posted today. And make sure you go check out that video. Always appreciate that, everyone. Everyone, thank you for coming out tonight. And thanks again to all the super chats tonight. Wow, that is amazing support. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. Absolutely love all of you. So, everyone, We'll be back here next week. Expect some videos this coming week. Got some draft content coming out this week. I'll probably throw in some kind of a trade video at some point this week. Be on the lookout. Make sure the bell notification is turned on. Share the show. Hit that like button if you can on the way out. And subscribe if you are new. Everyone, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.